Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Dragon Stars series Gamma 2. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And here on the top we have Bandai 4-and-up assortment numbers, Bandai Namco. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Warning, don't stick things in your French pie hole either. Dragon Star series and that energy crackle effect in, well, it used to be glossy black, now it's just darker black than the rest of the packaging. No chrome on the Dragon Star series here either. Dragon Ball Superhero. Nice border around the window again. Not chromed. And there's Gamma 2 that you can see through his window and his accessories. Artwork of Gamma 2. Dragon Star series. Finally, some of the chromed stuff that used to make this packaging feel more premium. Gamma 2 Superhero version. Small print, fine print, legalese print, and lots of print here on the bottom. On this side, Dragon Ball Superhero artwork of Gamma 2. Same on this side. On the back side, Dragon Ball Superhero Dragon Star series. No chrome at all in the lettering. But here's the cross sale. Vegeta Superhero version, Ultimate Gohan Superhero version, and Gamma 2, this figure, Superhero version. And then there's some other small fine legalese print. That, symbols I'm not going to learn, toy animation, and a barcode. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers, because accessories are up first. And he does come with an extra set of hands, trigger finger hands. And Gamma 1 and 2 are the first time I do believe Dragon Star series figures have come with trigger finger hands. And there's two, and they have some little bit of nice molded detail on them. And I will say the plastic is a little bit stiff compared to the plastic of the gun. The gun plastic is quite flexible and the hand is not, and it can lead to some issues getting the weapon into his hand. Nice paint apps on the sidearm. It's got two fins on it, just like the top of his head. And there I go bumping the camera. Because what's a Digital Caveman Presents review without some bumping of the camera? Let's take a look at the figure himself. And here we go. It's mostly the same, you know, basically from the head down, it's the same mold as Gamma 1, which it should be, because, you know, they're basically the same. Paint apps for the buttons, the belt buckle, the buttons here, and I do believe that's it for the paint apps, except for on the head. We have them on the ear nodules, the face, and the eyes, which I think all looks pretty good. There's a little bit of slop on the face, but it's not real bad. It's barely even noticeable until you get up close to it. And Everything but those few paint apps I mentioned are molded in color, I do believe, except for this. I do believe this top over the boot, between the boot and the knee, is paint, and if it is, they matched it up with the plastic rather well. Let's take a look at his articulation. The head, of course, I think is on a dumbbell at the top, and then the neck is a separate piece and it has a ball at the bottom. So let's see what kind of articulation he gets out of that. He doesn't look up very much at all. He can look down that far. He can chicken neck for those parties at the red ribbon base. He's got some waggle in there. He can do the full exorcist. At the shoulder, it's on that, it's pinned here at the shoulder, and then there's a pin that runs into the body that has a ball on it, and it does allow for some butterfly type movement, that far forward, that far back, and it can go up and down some as well. 360 degree rotation, way better than 90 degree to raise it up. There is a cut here at the upper bicep for another 360 degree rotation. Double hinged pinned elbow, and it gives you that much bend, which is pretty darn good. 360 degree rotation at the wrist, and the wrist as well as the ankles are both on the ball system that we're used to with the Dragon Star series. If you've watched one of my other Dragon Star series reviews, or if you own any of the figures, you know how that works, and it's very similar to the figure arts. And this piece can be rotated, so it can be up and down, in and out, however that you need to put it. Then he has nothing in the torso. Oh, and the other side is exactly the same as this arm. He has a cut at the waist. It's on a ball. Gives him some hula so he can go side to side. He can tilt back that far and forwards that far. Also 360 degrees worth of rotation here. Now, if you watch my Gamma 1 review, you know there can be a little bit of an issue with articulation at the legs. Now, we do have two separate flaps for this bottom part of the jacket under the belt, and so that does help with the articulation. And let's see if I can do it without busting them apart. So you can get that much of the splits out of him. He kicks forward and breaks apart. So that answers the question of whether or not I can articulate his legs without breaking the figure apart. And as you can see, there's the two overlays, and then the belt goes on, and then, you know, there's the ball and the port for it. And then no satisfying pop, but it did go back in there. And so he can kick forward about that far without coming apart. Backwards, maybe about a step and a half. There is no real rotation at the thigh. It can turn a little bit because it's on a ball at the hip, and it does have pull down a little bit, very little bit. At the knee, a double hinged pinned knee, and it gives you that much bend. Then at the ankle, again, it's that same ball at the wrist, and it will tilt down that far, it will tilt up that far, and it will rotate, but there's really no rocker to it unless you turn the ball joint, which, just like the wrist, you can turn the ball joint, and if you want that rocker articulation, it can do that. Now, as far as the sidearm goes, it does fit right there into his holster, and it stays okay. It actually stays better than Gamma 1. Maybe it's because he has 2 fins. I don't know. So that's pretty nice. And as far as him holding the weapon, again, like I said, this is a much stiffer plastic than the sidearm. But if you get it in there and you twist a little bit, you might have to get a little tool like handy dandy tweezers to help get the gun in the fingers. And there you have it. With some slight difficulty, he can hold the weapon. And just pop the fist off. Pop that hand on. And Bob's your uncle. There you go, my friends. A look at Gamma 2 and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Dragon Star Series Gamma 2 with the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Dragon Star Series Gamma 1 and the Dragon Ball Super Dragon Star Series Piccolo with Cape. Not to be confused with the brighter colors of the superhero version. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Dragon Star Series Gamma 2 with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch comparison, from Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Dragon Ball Super Superhero Dragon Star Series Gamma 2, I have to say it's a pretty good figure. Anything I've said about Gamma 1 pretty much holds true. It's got a couple of tampos, got a few paint apps, mainly the buttons on the uniform and the, I guess, buttons on the side of the head, the ear muffs. I'm not sure exactly what they are. And then the face and the 2 tampo, the red ribbon tampo, and then some paint apps on his sidearm as well. The one thing that this figure could have used, a cloth wired cape. However, I understand at the price point that we're dealing with and the aesthetic, why the company would not go in that direction. However, it still would have been nice. Figure has nice articulation, good range of movement, not the best, but it's pretty good. And you know, I wasn't able to get a hold of, you know, the Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 for the Figure Arts line were exclusives. They were a little bit out of my price range for what I'd like to spend on a Figure Arts figure. And so again, Dragon Star Series helps me fill in where I can't with Figure Arts. And for me, it's really the other way around. I really started Dragon Star Series before Figure Arts, and I'm gonna fill in with Figure Arts stuff as I'm able to. as they do some of the re-releases and the new molds at the lower price points. And probably even a few KOs here and there. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.